My guest this evening, the well-known choral group, the Edna Tones, to conduct them no other than their spiritual leader and confidant, Edna Everage.
I'm just a woman who loves other women. I'm funny that way. I adore the caress of someone in a dress, a mini, a penny, or a negligee.
Oh, men who have their place, without them the human race would fizzle out and come to a sticky end. But when your world is in a muddle, when you need someone to cuddle, a woman is a girl's best friend. She's just a woman who loves other women. She's funny that way.
I suppose you call me funny.
She just adores the caress of someone in a dress. A mini,
A mini,
a penny,
a penny,
a negligee.
a gorgeous negligee.
It's nice because your man demands his rights, and you think you may be going round the bend. Don't resort to alcohol like other women have. Gather up your value and throw them down the lap. For there's something else on which you may depend. When your world is in a muddle and you crave a nice long cuddle,
Remember,
a woman is a girl's best friend.
hello, darling James. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, Henry. Hello, Eddie. How are you?
Dear
My
Edna,
darling.
what a fitting tribute to such a wonderful woman. Obviously written by yourself, dear Edna, as a
Yes,
tribute.
yes, really.
to-
Oh, good heavens, aren't these seats deep?
Well, that's...
Hello, studio audience, and hello, viewers. And lovely Jackie, what a gorgeous show this is, too. It's a thoughtful show, don't you think?
Well, that's very nice of you to say so. I must say the warm little bottom that Henry had in that chair is obviously going to have some effect on you. But I have to ask the obvious question, because I've been speaking with men who have entered great areas of fear. You must surely have experienced this through the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, and obviously the fear that you've experienced and the danger in some of the most treacherous corners all the way around the world, from King's Cross in Sydney to the corners of Soho.
Well, I suppose you could say that it is a dangerous life indeed, the life of a superstar, darling. But you know, I know no fear. Now, I don't mean this in a conceited way. I'm not that type of person. What a foolish woman, too, I'd be, wouldn't I, if I tried to pretend on this very probing medium of the TV, and in some cases the colour TV, if I did try to pretend that I am a fearful person, because you'd know that I wasn't. I'm a tremendously confident woman, and I don't mean that in a conceited way, darling. I do take tremendous risks, it is true. I live on a razor's edge. I've never said that in an interview. This is an exclusive. I do live on a razor's edge, particularly this new profession of mine, conducting. Now, I haven't done much conducting in my life before, but I just realised after that little number that I must have been born, I think, with a baton in my hand, as you probably were born.
Well,
darling, with a jack in your hand. You could have been.
No,
or a tool of some kind.
I think it was a tool of some kind.
You know,
I've used them many times. But irrespective
I think a lot
of that...
conductors, you know. I was talking to Germaine Greer, a fellow Australian. If you're watching, darling, I love your new book.
Is he a conductor?
No, she's a very clever girl, Dr. Greer, a fellow Australian and intellectual. And she is working on a book with my collaboration now about women conductors. There are a lot of, I think, women conductors who've been suppressed by their husbands, and so they can't... I think a lot of women have to pretend to be men in order to be conductors. It's quite possible that Leonard Bernstein is a woman. Did you realise that?
Well, it could be it could be that under wraps he might be, but you've just returned now from a tremendously successful tour of the provinces. You've been taking your wonderful act around there. And how have you managed to deal with the provinces? Did you have any sort of scrapes with danger up in sort of my neck of the woods up in Scotland, or did you find them particularly friendly?
Darling, I didn't go across the border, though I longed to.
I can understand why.
Or Switzerland. I haven't been there, which is I believe your
yes, it is
resting place.
But I wondered whether you might have gone up there for the kilt in Scotland. Or
I haven't been up there, but I do have a certain risk in my work, which I should mention, though it doesn't fill me with fear. Hello, darlings, I'm not including you as much as I do. Look at these, me on the macho show. It very much is, isn't it? But I think the show needed a bit of femininity too. I think you all agree, darlings. You know, one of the risks in my job is I plough my immense profits back into the audience. I have hundreds and thousands of gladdies. My gladdie bill is huge. These are beautiful Australian wildflowers. And I fling at the audience viewers. But I have a risk with the sticky stalks. Sticky stalks are a tremendous risk in my life because they're scattered across the stage and you could do yourself a grievous mischief.
But you see, people like James, excuse me for interrupting,
Not at all.
James has had a lot of risk on the basis that his sort of sexuality has taken him to the attractive female species. Now, you, as being an obviously sexual woman, must have had some tremendous offers in your life.
Well, I have got my drives and my juices still very much.
Oh, I'm glad.
And I am a woman with very, very deep passions, my darling Jackie. But I do have a husband, and this is something I find a lot of people respect. You know, I live in these luxury hotels and I move around. And you know, sometimes there's a little tap on the door, and you've probably had it in your own lives, boys. Because I think when you are a glamorous and a sought-after person, you do have, you know, people might have had a few little crème de menthe too many. But I just have this lovely photograph of my husband, and it's not an ordinary photograph of him. I have it just beside the bed, and it's my husband in his present condition. I think that is enough, I think, to sort of still or quench the terrible rampant fires of unbridled sexuality. My husband has well, I think it's generally known, but you may not know it, darling. It mightn't have been on the news in Switzerland, but my husband has he has really more or less a terminal prostate condition. I don't think that's terribly amusing, studio audience.
No
it's
respect
possible
for
they may come from some institution, Jackie. You'd find that sort of thing. I'm sorry, I don't think human suffering is funny. Sorry.
No, but excuse me for interrupting you in full swing about your husband.
By all means, interrupt me, darling.
I'm concerned about him because it seems to me that you've escalated in your fame all around the world, while he, poor thing, is some institution in this wonderful country of yours in Australia. He's sitting down there must be feeling like that drummer who left the Beatles. I mean, here's you up in the height of glamour, success and everything else, and here poor soul is sitting watching you through the newspaper.
Darling,
isn't that touching?
It is, but he's very much spoilt there in the urological wing. And you know, they really spoil him. And Christmas coming round, of course, what they do is turn off all the lights in the ward, and there are so many lights on his machine that it twinkles away. It's like a technological tree. But they've miniaturised his prostate now. It's on a silicon chip. Oh. I was fascinated. I wonder if you viewers noticed that wonderful documentary. Did you see it at all, called The Fantastic Journey, Henry?
I think I did.
It was about people. You can now put people in a submarine and go around the human anatomy. That I found was absolutely incredible. I don't know what it would like being in a U-boat in my husband's urinary tract. But they'll do it. It'll happen. Poor old Norm.
Well, but, you're facing a terrible...
I take risks with him. Let me, in answer to your question, darling, just before your next interruption.
Yeah.
I'm teasing you, darling.
Parkinson had more trouble than I'm having.
Oh, little darling, you're adorable, but you're a man of action.
You can tell.
You know, I do take risks, but I suppose I take risks with Norm because it's a risk, I think, worth taking because, you know, little Bridget Bardot, who was really the Dame Edna of the 50s when you come to
She
that.
was. Not as appealing.
Well, she was a bit of a glamour puss, and I don't pretend to be that. I think it's my normality that appeals to people. I think it's because women identify me. I think women do identify me, even in this beautiful, gorgeous Theoported gown and my lovely glamour. See my glasses, aren't they lovely?
Beautiful.
That's designed by myself. That's an Australian marsupial, viewers. It's the lovely black swan. Isn't it gorgeous?
Amazing. Amazing, I think is the word. Yeah.
I think, you know, I'm donating, Norm, to scientific research. I think it's important. Now, I am anti-vivisectionist, but in his case, I have to draw the line.
Doesn't it sadden you on the basis, here we are approaching Christmas, what are you, I mean, I suppose you'd be going to Windsor or Sandringham or something to spend Christmas. Where
I
are
have
you
forged the odd link with royalty. That's as much as I can say, I'm afraid.
You're now being very modest.
It's as much as I can say at the moment. It will be.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful. What are you going to do with regards to Christmas? How are you handling that? I mean,
well, I am
your
going
whole
to pop
family
out
are
to
away
Australia.
from you.
No, I'm going to make a little lightning trip out to Australia, Jackie. I have to, I'm afraid. My son's there, and he's got his exams, his dressmaking exams coming up.
Very important. Let me ask you this. You've done so much for women around the world in identifying, yes. and they now have gone on to new heights of endeavour because of your example. I mean, here's James Hunt as a racing driver, retired, and here's Eddie there. Now, let me ask you a selfish question, because we would love to have someone of your mould in motor racing. Is there any hope at all that in the year of 1980 that we could tempt you into the Grand Prix world, because it is glamorous and it would fit so well into the rest of your mould, let's say?
Darling, racing, I don't know. I don't know whether it's my image particularly. I think I'm a very domestic creature. I'm a softie, really. I am an old softie. I'm a sentimental type of a person, and I honestly, I would be scared then, I think. I like to have my two slingbacks on the ground, I think. That's really what I do. I do a little bit of driving, and I jog. I jog every morning, and I'm inclined to tear the sheets, as a matter of fact. I do. I like to jog in bed. I do. Why get out of bed and jog? You can do it lying down.
How do you...
I love cooking. Oh, the things I could go on chatting about. It's amazing, really.
Well,
just as well you're here.
Well, it is, but what, in fact, you keep such an extremely tight schedule around the world, and here you've got into...
Schedule is terribly tight, even at my age.
Isn't that amazing? Well, the boys will be pleased to hear this.
No stretch marks, girls.
What are your plans? I mean, here we're reaching the end of the 70s. You, with your imagination, must surely be able to look at the 80s with great encouragement.
Well, it's been a marvellous decade for me, the old 70s, you know. It's like a fairy tale, my life. Sometimes I can't believe it, to think, you know, I won the wonderful John Gielgud Award the other night for the best actress in the history of the world. And get these trophies, you know. You're not the only people with lovely cups on your little mantelpieces. I'm including you in again. But no, I love you all. You've all had your little say, though, haven't you? And I think this boy, I think should do something else. I don't want him to go on taking any more silly risks with his life. I hope not. Don't do. I think a lot of bribery for money. I mean, you boys are with your little commercials. There are temptations. I'm offered commercials, but in my position, you see, people slavishly follow me. Oh. You see, you could, of course, with a reasonable offer, do a little what you do, darling. We can't do the advertisements on the BBC, and I could do one for the Nivea, but I don't. I don't. Mind you, I'd love to come and have a little whiff of your brute, my darling. And I'll tell you what, Henry, will you? If you do, I'll let you sniff my Charlie.
Your Charlie a Chihuahua.
I hope they got a good picture of that one.
Well, I'm only pleased that we're into the early morning hour. I think obviously you pay a great deal of attention about how you brought your family up. I mean, the presents, they must feel very nervous for the fact that you are who you are today. I mean, quite frankly, when you came on here tonight, I really didn't know whether to bow or to curtsy.
Darling, you don't have to. We're in the same echelon.
Oh, we are?
We are, a little word I picked up in Scrabble recently.
Well,
but you don't, I don't expect people to behave any differently to me. You know, there's nothing special about me. It's just that I have a unique gift, that's all. It's something that I like to share. I go around the world sharing my experience, my hope and my strength with other people. I've been looked after and cherished very, very much by my public and my loyal fans who've stayed up as late as this to see me. And, you know, it's something very, very rewarding in itself. If the little financial rewards follow on, well, that's such a nice bonus. But it's not the main thing for me, as it is for you lads. Well, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I'm saying that a little satirically because I was...
Well, Dame Edna, all of us admire you with tremendous enthusiasm. I know that James, I know that Henry and Eddie, and certainly I do. I think as now we come to the end of our show, I would hate to leave a show of this kind without you finally giving us some kind of rendering of some kind. So therefore, before standing up with your baton and your tubes ready to sing again, perhaps I might, on my behalf, thank James Hunt for coming along, for Henry Cooper for coming along, for Eddie Kidd for being able to come along. And for all the many viewers for staying awake and watching our show. Dame Edna, I would like to end our show if you would pay us the great privilege of once again singing for us.
With the Edna tones, but do the studio audience want... Darlings, do you want another ditty from the Edna tones?
Yay! Bravo! Bye-bye. I'll give you two.
Goodbye. I find the Edna tones, I think, behind this gorgeous sunset. I've never knocked on a sunset before. Isn't this lovely? You'd think you'd rehearsed it. It's absolutely free, so it's a mystery why there's not a lot more nice folks just like me.
It's something we believe in when we go to church on Sundays.
Niceness is a deodorant and a spotless